wiped away. Today is also a feast day, a memorial actually, of St. George. And of course, the full title of St. George, the Dragon Killer. And there are so many different diversions as to who this man was and whether he even existed, let alone what country he represents. So I thought I would take something here that explains some of it. George and the Dragon, the lives of the saints here. The most popular legend involving George tells of a pagan city of Selene in Libya, a general term for North Africa at the time, which is beset by a dragon who dwells near a vast lake. The dragon's noxious breath, fire isn't mentioned, forces the inhabitants to offer it 2 sheep a day. When they run out of sheep, they offer it their daughters. Finally, only one maiden is left, and that's the king's daughter, who is let out to feed the beast. Fortunately for her, George appears on the scene, and ignoring her warnings that he is sure to be killed, he succeeds in stunning the dragon, which the princess and the knight proceed to take to the city. Once it's stunned and in the city, George says he will slay it if the thousands of inhabitants convert to Christianity, to which they agree. George refuses the king's offer of a huge reward, telling them to give it to the poor, and then goes on his way. And then it goes on to say that many countries have picked up George, St. George, and the whole story of the dragon killer, and that one of the things that comes down to us, in spite of all the cultural overlays that can go on about with the dragon, was he really existing? Did he breathe fire or did he not? I guess he just had bad breath. That was enough to knock people out. But one of the things that really goes back is, since George was a 3rd century martyr, and he died and was beheaded under the Emperor Diocletian, what is really taught by the Church Fathers is that St. George, a martyr, confronted the dragon. And whenever you hear dragon, you're supposed to be hearing, well, for instance, we have the donkey for the Democrats, the elephants for the Republicans, the bear for the communists, Uncle Sam for the United States, all those archetypes or images. But according to the scriptures, even in the book of Revelation, whenever you hear dragon, you're supposed to be thinking about the devil. And with George slaying the dragon, it was the whole concept in an allegory, in a story, of someone who comes along and he fights against, as we all do, according to our baptisms, we fight the evil one. Our mission is to slay the dragon. And whenever we do that publicly, in other words, he said he would slay it in the midst of a lot of people who then would come to believe. Our effort is that in working against the evil one who always tempts us and calling on God's grace with the sword, if you will, of faith, church militant, we overcome the devil, and this is an adumbration or foreshadowing of what will happen at the end of time, but really it's in our daily life. We will slay the dragon,